Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. Hey. I'm gonna go pull the hot rods out. So we got dancers coming over to dance in the garage again today. They stopped dancing in here because it was so hot, but it's cooled off a little. We're beginning to feel the effects of the end of summer and the beginning of fall. I went to crank that one and battery's deadish. I didn't have it charged into a battery tender, so I threw my big charger on there. It'll charge it pretty quick. I hadn't actually driven this one anywhere in a while. I have a pretty good sized transmission fluid leak right there. I need to look at that and figure out what it is. I don't know if I have a flashlight handy by down here. I try to keep one, but I don't always have one. Could run up the house and get one while that's charging, and get me something to lay on, lay down under there, and just see if I can see where it's dripping from, because that's something I'm going to want to fix. It's had a very slow leak. It used to leak a few drops when it would sit, but now it's leaking more. I'd say more than a few drops, based on what we just looked at there, eh? And, I can't think of a better time to get under there than right now. So Bill is in the process of getting rid of his big blue Ford truck and getting him a shiny red Chevrolet truck, which I support. I know Cutworm and Rusty Acres are Ford guys, but you know they have other defects too, so I try not to hold it. I try not to call them out on that. But I have on my Studebaker, holy, just look at that right there. That is a pretty good sized puddle, wouldn't you agree? That's a pretty good sized oil leak, and I need to know where it's coming from. Now, what do I see? I see that it's on this side of the car, not the other side, and I see red here, right in this corner. Can you see that, where my finger is? I don't see any red back here. Most of the red I see is here. I see it here too. I see also somebody's had this pan off and they put some instant gasket maker stuff on that right there. I have up in my other garage there a B&M shift kit to go in this car, and I'm planning to put it in it. And since this is leaking there, it's leading me to think that maybe, now also I'm gonna look, I gotta get my head under there, I think, because I want to see where we got a little bit of red right here on this shifter knob. I don't know if this is transmission fluid that blew up on there, or if it's some that's leaking down from on top. So what I'm doing right now is I'm working my head under here. And I'm gonna grab y'all by the legs. I'm gonna hang you up underneath here, and we're gonna look up there together. Now, I see a little bit of wetness here, but it looks a little bit like some old oil wetness, and I don't see a lot of wetness here except for that, which that could be transmission fluid that leaked out here and blew up and got on that right there. I'm thinking, I'm trying not to stick my head in that stuff. I'm thinking maybe, now that's transmission fluid there on my finger, and there's some more right there on my finger on the bottom of those bolts. I'm guessing I think I know that the oil transmission filler tube is on the other side of this. Let me scooch out from under here. See, you couldn't, if you was watching Resto Dan, you wouldn't get this kind of camera work, you know, having me roll around and having the camera go this way and that, you know. He is much too professional for that, but sometimes having an unprofessional camera work is, well, that's all part of the fun. Okay, so see that tube there? It goes down to that down there. Well, that's where you put the transmission fluid in it. And I see these two lines that come out. Well, that's where the transmission fluid comes out of the transmission and goes up to the radiator. Now that radiator line up to transmission to radiator cooler, that's a real good place for one of these to leak. But those are not leaking because they're not wet. So all of the wetness that I see is down there around, I think it's around the base of that pan. Now I'm gonna go the extra mile here and crawl under this side. I got me some more of these little pad things I can lay down on. If you was watching Waylon Wire, so you wouldn't be getting this kind of high quality camera work either. He'd have us all up on a green screen somewhere. And he'd be dressed up in his Farmer John outfit. And he wouldn't be out here in his shorts and his cut-off t-shirt like I am. You just can't get this from just any old YouTuber. This is special R-Peak stuff. All right, now let's get y'all over here. And from over here, what you can see is tilt this up a little, tilt you up a little. I see a drip right here. Now there's looks like some kind of line up there, and this is I'm going to call it a modulator here, and that's where the transmission comes in from. I don't see any transmission fluid up there. All the transmission fluid I see is around this base pan. Now I would be tempted to take me, I'm going to guess that's a 7/16, and just take me 7/16 socket and just tighten all those. In fact, I might do just that very thing right now. Boy, that don't look right. Is that right? Is that how that's supposed to look? I'm looking at this starter. You see this starter here? Probably just my eyes, but that looks like it's all crooked on there. I don't know if that's right at all. That looks like this starter gear is, maybe that's just an optical illusion. Well, I'm gonna go get me a 7/16. I'm gonna tighten them all up, and then we're gonna see if it'll crank. If that starter's bad, I got another one. I kept me an extra starter. But yeah, I don't know. That's probably just an optical illusion, because when I get the light behind it, it looks like it's lined up with the shaft okay there. So probably no need to panic there. I'll go get me a 7/16 and a ratchet, and I'll come right back and we'll poke around some more. Oh, that's a half. Dang, that's not real loose right there. Oh, well, that was a half, and this is, I guess, a 7/16. That's odd. So, go back and get the 7/16. That's going to be a half, and that's going to be a half. And ain't that funny? I got one 7/16 here, probably another one. Somebody's definitely been inside this transmission. Hey. And I thought for about a half second about using my little battery-powered ratchet gun, and then I thought again, because this is aluminum. Oh, that one is stripped. So that is that is not a 7/16. That is a stripped 1/2 inch. Aha. I see what that is. So probably, well, that definitely ain't good, but obviously you can't tighten it up very good if you strip the head on it. Let's see if we can snug the rest of these. It's got a little bit of wiggle room. That one out there is a different size. That's a 7/16. And it's not tight. It might be some kind of metric thing, but it still ain't tight. I don't want to twist it too much though. But a little tightening could go a long way. So I'm just going to go around and tighten up everything I can tighten up. You know, they make that Lucas stuff that you put in a transmission to stop leaks. Well, this isn't generally the kind of leak that's going to stop, because this is a leak that's caused by something definitely being loose. It needs to be tightened up. See, that ain't very tight either. And that's pretty loose. Of course, like I said, this is aluminum, and I don't want to strip anything here. So I'm not swinging on these like Tarzan or nothing. Ain't none of these real tight. There's one there that I may not be able to get to because it's up underneath that motor mount right there. Can I get to that? Yeah, I got it. This is what they call an R400 transmission. It's a 4-speed. It's basically what they call it. It's a 3-speed overdrive. It's got 3 normal gears like a 350 Chevy. Chevy made a 350 after they made the the Turbo Glide, which is a 2-speed. They made the Hydromatic, which is 350 is a Hydromatic 3-speed, and then they made the R4, or the 4-speed. It's an overdrive. And all overdrive is an extra high gear after you've gone through all 3 of your gears, which is really helpful if you've got a lowish rear end for fast takeoff. The extra high gear, which is basically above 1. Now I'm going to explain what above 1 means. On a transmission, like a 3-speed straight shift, or a 4-speed, or a 5-speed, or a 6-speed straight shift, or a Chevy 350, when it's in high gear, it's 1-to-1, meaning that every time the drive shaft turns once, the shaft, every time the engine turns once, the drive shaft turns once. So that's 1-to-1. An overdrive transmission is 1 to something other than 1, like 1 to 1 and a fraction, which that little extra turn is how you get your higher gas mileage. If you get a little extra turn on the top end, then your engine isn't having to work as hard to get you going at a higher speed. So that's what that's all about. The Turbo Glide, or the 2-speed, was a very tough transmission. They made them in cast iron, and old people still race them today, drag racing, circle track, and all that. The 350 is even stronger, they say, and the R400 is even stronger than that. So all these Chevy transmissions are really strong, and they're good transmissions to drag race with. Now this rear end and this one came out of a Camaro, and I don't know if this transmission came out of the same Camaro or not. The motor came out of a Corvette, and I don't know if I'm guessing this might have had a different transmission. It was a 97 Corvette, and I don't know if they had gone to the 6-speed automatics then or not. Or the 5-speed automatics, or whatever they had or have. There's a certain point beyond which I don't know much about cars. You know, I know a lot about old cars from back when I was pretty young. But at a certain point, I just quit caring, because I don't care about new cars very much. I don't want one. I mean, I've got a Toyota, but the whole idea that my new car is a Toyota says a lot about how much I'm not willing to work on the car that I drive, because I ain't going to work on no freaking Toyota. But these Chevrolets, I know how to keep them alive, and I value them enough to want to keep them alive, because they're part of a particular time in history, and that matters to me. I think that's the one that's got that funky little 7/16 right there, and that isn't even a good looking bolt. Somebody put on that, and of course keep in mind we got one over there that's stripped, so I can't even tighten it. I think I got this one tightened a little. That ain't got much of a head on it. Oh yeah, it's pretty loose. So all of that was pretty loose. So I don't know if that'll fix this problem, but it might slow it down. And really that's about all I need. I'm probably going to drive this maybe, depending on the car shows, maybe once or twice more this year before we have winter come around. And I won't be driving it far. It'll be over to, Iowa or down to Lexington or something like that. And I'm going to be, like I say, pulling that all apart, because I'm going to be putting that shift kit in it. I'm kind of thinking I'm going to do that kind of work when it gets cooler. Now, I've got that Rambler out there, and I got an engine all set up for it, and I'm going to be putting it in too. But I'll put off all that mechanical work until until it cools off, because I don't want to be sweating and mechanicking at the same time. I know I said something about that starter looking funny, so we're gonna see if it'll crank. I've got my battery charger on it. Let's see. See if she turns over good. Yeah, she's good. Ain't been cranked in a few weeks. Mason asks me every so often. He's one of the YouTubers. I think it's Mason Fox is his name. He messages me all the time and asks me things, you know. A lot of times he'll say, "You crank Studebaker? You crank a rat rod? You driven the rat rod? You driven the Studebaker? You working on the Rambler? You gonna fix the Rambler?" He's a cool dude. If you don't believe it, ask him. He'll tell you. No, he's not like that. He is a cool dude. I like Mason. He's not everybody's cup of tea, but I ain't neither. If we turn that off, disconnect that, get these pads. Not that it'll hurt them to run over them, but I'll get them out of the way. Looks like I got a swimming noodle in there. In case we have a flood, I won't drown in the garage here. And I'm gonna back that out and throw some Speedy Dry down. Girls can dance out here today. Gave me this nice bucket over here that I got my Speedy Dry in. You know, he moved. I lost my good neighbor, the one that had the John Deere tractor that rolled over, and we jacked it up out of the valley, and one that did all of it. Not all of it, we did a lot of the dirt work around here for me. Well, he moved off to somewhere closer to Tennessee. I think they're still in Georgia, but they're up in the north part of the state, up above Dawsonville or somewhere, to get closer to the kids and grandkids. But he gave me a bunch of stuff, and this bucket with a lid on it is one of the things he gave me. And I keep some Speedy Dry in that. So I can put that on there and soak up that stuff. Above like pick the handle up on it. Or not. Well, Chevy Tom sent me the date for the Lexington car show. It's going to be in September here in a little while. Now, I think the one in Iowa is going to be in October, and usually the one in that other little town in South Carolina over there comes up the week after that. What's the name of that town? Just over across the lake there. Anyway, so that's 3 car shows: Lexington, Iowa, and whatever that other little town is over there. I drove the Rambler to the one in Elberton, and I had a really good time. It did rain. Wasn't supposed to, but it did anyway. I say it wasn't supposed to. The weatherman didn't say it was going to rain, but well, it did. But it was kind of fun, even in the rain, no top. I still had a lot of fun with it. And fishing with me the other day. He helped me shoot some videos of the rat rod. And when I opened the garage door, he said, "Was you and Alberton in this?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "I saw you up there." I said, "Yeah, that's me. That's me. I'm that guy." Sure enough, that's me. Get this other big fan going too, so the girls would have a little bit of cooling going on when they get here to dance. So I'm just going to leave that speedy dry there and let it soak, and they can sweep that out when they want to. And I'll turn this big fan on. I'll get some air going for them. That'll do it. Alrighty then. So I mentioned Bill might be getting him a new truck. I'm gonna ride over with him to get it, but might not happen till tomorrow because it's already getting kind of late in the day. I'll give him a place to dance, so. Righty then. It just occurred to me, one thing that might be happening is that transmission on that Studebaker may be overfilled. My thinking is, and I don't know if this is accurate or not, but my thinking is there shouldn't be enough oil in that pan for the oil level to be high enough to leak out of that pan up around the top edge unless it's overfilled. Now I might be wrong about that, but that's what I think. So if it was overfilled, then that would be why that's leaking when it's just sitting there not being run. So I'll be checking all that out soon enough. As it is, I can drive it, and you know, having tightened those bolts might be kind of nice to drive it and then bring it back and park it and see if it's still leaking. Another thing might be nice, just check the oil level on it, the transmission fluid level. I'm gonna go in and cool off, make some videos. I've been doing some new stuff with videos lately. There's a company out there that provides music, and you have to pay a fee for it, and I've been playing with making some, call them relaxation videos, because I'm getting some really beautiful videos of being out on the lake, and put some nice music with that, and I enjoy watching them myself. I don't usually watch my own videos all the way through, but I found myself watching them as I'm making them and thinking, I like this. So I don't know if y'all like it or not, but I ain't gonna stop making other videos. I'm still gonna make videos of me bumbling around here and doing what I do, messing around with a banjo a little bit, and one thing and another, you know, honey baby dancing when she does. But yeah, something else I'm doing too there. Alrighty then, I'll talk to y'all later. I hope you're having a good day. Pray that the good Lord blesses you real good. See you, bye.